Hello guys, welcome to Fictional Vortex. So in this video, we will see what if Naruto was the Electro Archon secret weapon, the Musou no Hitotachi user Naruto x Raiden EI, Genshin Impact. If you enjoy these kinds of stories, don't forget to show us some love by hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. Your support means the world to us. Now, let's start the story. Chapter 1. The lightning stranger. The sky ripped open with a crack that shook the very air of Inazuma. Lightning split the dark clouds, illuminating the churning sea below for a brief, blinding moment. In that flash, something, or someone, plummeted from the tear in reality, crashing into the waves with such force that the water exploded upward like a geyser. Naruto Uzumaki broke the surface gasping, salt water burning his throat and eyes. His head spun, the last fragments of his battle with Sasuke still fresh in his mind, the clash of their final attacks, the bizarre energy distortion, and then, nothing. What the hell just happened? He treaded water, squinting through the pounding rain at unfamiliar shores lined with strange, purple-glowing trees. Sasuke. Sasuke. Only thunder answered him. This wasn't the Valley of the End. This wasn't anywhere he recognized. Naruto swam toward the closest shoreline, dragging himself onto rocky beach. His orange and black outfit clung to him, heavy and cold. He collapsed onto his back, staring up at the furious storm above. The lightning here moved wrong, too deliberate, almost conscious in how it forked across the sky. Kurama, you feeling this? Naruto closed his eyes, focusing inward to the nine tails sealed within him. This energy, it's not chakra. Not exactly, the fox's deep voice rumbled in his mind. Something's very wrong with this place. Naruto pulled himself to his feet, scanning the strange landscape. Weird crystal formations jutted from the ground, humming with purple electricity. The air tasted metallic. In the distance, he spotted the silhouette of what looked like a city, its architecture unlike anything in the five great nations. Guess that's our best bet for answers, he muttered, wringing water from his sleeve. He'd barely taken 3 steps when a scream cut through the storm. Down the beach, 3 armored figures surrounded a young woman. One grabbed her arm while another rifled through her bag. Naruto didn't hesitate. In a flash, he appeared between the bandits and the woman, his speed leaving only an orange blur. 3 guys picking on one person. That's pretty pathetic, you know. Naruto grinned, cracking his knuckles. The bandits jumped back, startled by his sudden appearance. Their armor had strange, purple accents that crackled with energy. The leader drew a sword that hummed with the same purple light. Back off, outsider. This doesn't concern you. Yeah, it kinda does now. Naruto formed a familiar hand sign. Shadow Clone Jutsu. Nothing happened. Naruto's eyes widened. He tried again. Shadow Clone Jutsu. Still nothing. The bandits laughed. What kind of vision user are you supposed to be? Vision? What are you talking? The leader lunged, sword crackling with purple lightning. Naruto dodged on instinct, the blade missing him by inches. He counterattacked with a punch that connected squarely with the man's jaw, sending him flying backward with inhuman force. The other bandits gaped. One raised his hand, and electricity arced from his fingertips toward Naruto. Whoa! Naruto leaped aside, the lightning scorching the ground where he'd stood. Okay, so that's a thing people can do here. Your chakra's behaving strangely, Kurama warned. Something in this world is interfering with it. The woman had backed away, watching with wide eyes as Naruto dodged another lightning bolt. The 2 remaining bandits circled him, one launching more electrical attacks while the other drew a bow. Fine, Naruto growled. Let's try something basic. He focused chakra to his feet and launched himself upward just as an arrow whizzed beneath him. 20 feet in the air, he formed a familiar spiraling ball of energy in his palm. Rasengan. The technique formed, but something was different. Streaks of purple lightning crackled around the blue sphere as he fell toward the archer. The bandit's eyes widened in terror as Naruto slammed the electrified Rasengan into the ground at his feet. The explosion sent both bandits flying, electricity arcing across the sand. Naruto stared at his hand in shock. "Did you see that, Kurama? Your chakra is adapting, mixing with the ambient energy here," the fox replied. "Interesting." The woman approached cautiously, clutching her bag to her chest. "Thank you for saving me, but, who are you? I've never seen an Electro user fight like that." "Electro?" Naruto scratched his head. "Sorry, I'm not from around here. Name's Naruto Uzumaki. I'm Kimiko, a merchant from Ritu." She bowed slightly. "Those men were treasure hoarders. They've been causing trouble all over Inazuma lately." "Inazuma?" Naruto repeated. "That's where we are." Kimiko gave him a strange look. "Yes, of course. The nation ruled by Her Excellency, the Electro Archon." Before Naruto could ask more questions, a bone-deep rumble shook the air. The storm above intensified, lightning striking closer and closer to where they stood. "She knows you're here," Kimiko whispered, backing away in fear. "The Raiden Shogun senses all electrical disturbances in Inazuma. Whatever you did with that strange technique, you've drawn her attention." "Who exactly is this Raiden Shogun?" Lightning struck 10 feet away, blinding them both. When Naruto's vision cleared, a group of intimidating soldiers in ornate armor stood before them, led by a woman with short purple hair and a stern expression. "You," she pointed directly at Naruto. "By order of Her Excellency, the Almighty Narukami Ogasho, you will come with us to the Tenshukaku immediately." Naruto looked from the soldiers to the frightened Kimiko and back. "Look, I think there's been a misunderstanding. I literally just got here and, Sarasama," one soldier whispered urgently to the leader. "His energy signature, it's unlike anything we've encountered. Could he be from?" Silence. The woman named Sarah narrowed her eyes at Naruto. "Will you come peacefully, or must we use force?" Naruto raised his hands in a placating gesture. "No need for that. I'll go with you. Maybe whoever's in charge can help me figure out how to get home." "Doubtful," Sarah said coldly. "Her Excellency rarely grants audiences to determine an outsider's fate. Especially one with your unusual energy." "Great," Naruto sighed. "Just my luck." The city of Inazuma dwarfed anything Naruto had seen before. Massive stone buildings with sweeping, curved roofs rose alongside cherry blossom trees and elaborate gardens. Everything was illuminated by strange, floating purple lamps that required no fire. People dressed in unfamiliar clothing stared as the soldiers escorted him through the streets. At the center of it all stood a towering palace that seemed to touch the stormy sky itself. "That's the Tenshukaku," Sarah explained, noticing his awe. "The seat of Her Excellency's divine rule." "And who exactly is Her Excellency?" Naruto asked. Sarah looked genuinely shocked. "You truly don't know?" "The Almighty Narukami Ogasho, God of Eternity, the Raiden Shogun. She is the Electro Archon who has ruled Inazuma for centuries." "Centuries? So she's like, super old?" A muscle twitched in Sarah's jaw. "Mind your tongue in her presence, unless you wish to lose it." As they approached the palace gates, Naruto sensed something watching him. Looking up, he spotted a crow with unusual purple eyes perched on a nearby roof. The bird seemed to stare directly at him before taking flight toward the palace. Inside, the Tenshukaku was even more impressive. Polished wooden floors reflected the purple light from crystal fixtures. Elaborate tapestries depicted battles and lightning storms. Guards stood at attention as Sarah led Naruto deeper into the palace. They entered a vast throne room. On a raised dais sat a woman whose presence made the air hum with power. Her hair, an impossible shade of purple, cascaded down beyond her ornate robes. At her side rested a Naginata that radiated such intense energy that Naruto could feel it from across the room. This was no ordinary ruler. Whatever she was, God might not be an exaggeration. Your Excellency, Sarah knelt immediately. I bring before you the anomaly detected during the storm. The Raiden Shogun's eyes were cold and calculating as they assessed Naruto. You carry energy unlike any vision bearer or allogene I have encountered. Explain yourself, outsider. Naruto scratched the back of his head. Honestly, I'm still trying to figure that out myself. 1 minute I was fighting my friend Sasuke back in my world, and the next thing I know, I'm being dumped into the ocean here during a lightning storm. Another world? The Shogun's expression didn't change, but something shifted in the air around her. Impossible. Yeah, well, I've done a lot of impossible things, Naruto grinned. Dimension hopping is apparently the latest. The temperature in the room seemed to drop. The Shogun stood, her movement so fluid it almost seemed like she floated to her feet. Could you, Sarah, leave us? Sarah looked startled. Your Excellency, is that wise? His powers are, I said leave. Sarah bowed deeply and retreated with the other guards, casting one last suspicious glance at Naruto before the massive doors closed behind them. The moment they were alone, something changed. The Shogun's posture relaxed subtly, and her eyes gained a depth that hadn't been there before. Now, she said, her voice slightly warmer, let's dispense with formalities. You may address me as EI. Naruto blinked in confusion. EI. I thought you were the Raiden Shogun. The Shogun is, a vessel. I am EI, the Electro Archon. She stepped closer, studying him with newfound curiosity. What you encountered was my puppet, created to handle the day-to-day ruling of Inazuma while I meditate within the plane of euthymia. A puppet that looks exactly like you? That's weird but kinda cool. A faint smile flickered across EI's lips. Few would dare speak so candidly to an Archon. Yeah, well, I've met my share of powerful beings. Even befriended a few. Naruto tapped his stomach where the Ninetales seal was located. Speaking of which, I've got one sealed inside me right now who's really curious about you. EI's eyes widened slightly. You house another consciousness within yourself. Fascinating. That explains part of your unusual energy signature. She circled him slowly, purple lightning occasionally crackling between her fingers. Your arrival has created quite the disturbance in Inazuma's electro field. I felt it immediately, foreign energy, powerful but untamed, suddenly appearing within my domain. So can you help me get back home? Naruto asked. I've got people waiting for me, promises to keep. Perhaps, EI said thoughtfully. But first, I must understand what you are and how you came to be here. She extended her hand toward him, palm up. May I? Naruto hesitated, then nodded. EI placed her palm against his chest. Immediately, purple electricity crawled across his skin, but it didn't hurt. Instead, it seemed to resonate with something inside him. Extraordinary, she murmured. Your energy, chakra, you call it, it's naturally attuned to multiple elements, but particularly to what we call electro here in Teyvat. Her eyes met his. And beneath it all, something ancient and powerful. She can sense me, Kurama growled inside Naruto. She's no ordinary human. Yeah, got that memo, Naruto muttered. EI stepped back. You speak to the entity within you? His name is Kurama. We're partners. Partners? EI looked genuinely surprised. Not master and servant. Nah, we're way past that. Took a while, but we figured out we're stronger together than against each other. Something flashed in EI's eyes, recognition, perhaps, or longing. In all my centuries, I've rarely encountered such a relationship. She turned abruptly and walked toward a sliding paper door that Naruto hadn't noticed before. Come. We will speak more privately. When she opened the door, Naruto didn't see another room. Instead, a vast purple void stretched beyond, punctuated by floating islands and impossible structures. "Welcome," Ei said, "to the plane of euthymia." The plane of euthymia defied all logic. Islands of rock and crystal floated in a perpetual twilight, connected by bridges of purple lightning. The sky, if you could call it that, swirled with patterns of electro-energy that reminded Naruto of the Sharingan's hypnotic designs. "This place is inside you?" he asked, following Ei across a bridge that materialized beneath their feet as they walked. "In a manner of speaking," she replied. "It is a domain I created to pursue eternity without distraction." They reached a central island where a massive cherry tree bloomed with purple flowers. Beneath it sat a simple tea table with 2 cushions. "Sit," Ei gestured. "We have much to discuss." Naruto sat cross-legged across from her. "So what's with the whole eternity thing? Sarah mentioned that too." Ei waved her hand, and a tea set appeared. She poured with practiced grace. "Eternity is my ideal, unchanging, enduring perfection. As the Electro Archon, I strive to preserve Inazuma in its most perfect state, forever." "That sounds, kinda impossible," Naruto said bluntly, accepting the tea. "Everything changes. That's just how life works. Perhaps in your world." Ei's eyes flashed dangerously. "Here, Archons shape reality according to their ideals. My sister." She paused, something vulnerable crossing her face before disappearing. "My sister believed as you do. It cost her everything." Naruto sensed the pain behind her words. "I'm sorry about your sister. It was long ago." Ei sipped her tea, composure returning. "Now, tell me of your world and how you came to mine." Naruto explained about the 5 great nations, chakra, his status as a Jinchuriki, and his final battle with Sasuke that somehow tore a hole between dimensions. As he spoke, Ei listened intently, occasionally asking sharp, precise questions about chakra theory and the bijou. "Your chakra system is not unlike our vision system," she mused when he finished. "Though far more developed and integrated into your physical being. What exactly are these vision things everyone keeps mentioning?" Ei held out her hand, and a small purple gem materialized. "A vision is a gift from the gods, a divine focus that allows mortals to channel elemental energy. There are 7 elements, anemo, geo, electro, dendro, hydro, pyro, and cryo. And you're the, what did you call it? Archon? Of electro?" "Correct. Each element has its archon, though some have changed over the centuries." Naruto leaned forward. "So when I used my Rasengan earlier, it got all lightning. Why? Because your chakra is naturally adapting to the dominant elemental energy of Inazuma," Ei confirmed. "Particularly interesting since you're in the domain of the Electro Archon herself." She stood suddenly, walking to the edge of the floating island. "Show me this technique again." Naruto joined her and formed a Rasengan in his palm. Just as before, purple electricity crackled around the swirling blue sphere. Ei's eyes widened with genuine interest. "Fascinating. Your chakra control is remarkable." She extended her hand toward the technique. "May I?" Naruto nodded, holding the electrified Rasengan steady as Ei placed her fingers near it. Tendrils of purple lightning jumped from the sphere to her fingertips. "There's something," she murmured, then suddenly stepped back. "Try to maintain that technique while I do this." She raised her hand, and lightning erupted from her fingertips, engulfing Naruto's body. He tensed, expecting pain, but instead felt a strange resonance as his Rasengan grew larger, the lightning around it intensifying. "As I suspected," Ei said, looking satisfied. "Your chakra is uniquely receptive to my elemental manipulation." The implications dawned on Naruto as the technique dissipated. "You're saying we can combine our powers?" "Potentially," Ei nodded. "Though your techniques are foreign to Teyvat, they appear compatible with our elemental system." She paced thoughtfully, energy crackling around her with each step. This presents an interesting opportunity. For getting me home? Naruto asked hopefully. Perhaps eventually, Ei said, studying him with new intensity. But first, I propose an exchange. I will help you understand this world and investigate how you might return to yours. In return, you will allow me to study your abilities and assist me with certain matters that require discretion. What kind of matters? Inazuma faces threats both within and without. The Fatui from Snezhnaya probe our defenses. The resistance on Watatsumi Island gains strength. And there are other entities I monitor. She stopped directly in front of him. What do you know of divine weapons, Naruto Uzumaki? Not much, he admitted. I've seen some pretty powerful artifacts, but nothing godly. Ei held out her hand, and her Naginata materialized. The weapon hummed with such intense energy that the air around it distorted. This is the engulfing lightning, she said. But it is merely the physical channel for my ultimate technique, the Musou no Hitotachi, a strike that can cleave islands and slay gods. Naruto whistled, impressed despite himself. That's some serious firepower. Indeed. And I believe you could learn to wield a version of it. Naruto's eyes widened. Me? Wield a god-killing technique? With your unique chakra signature and adaptive abilities, yes, Ei said. Your potential is considerable. In all my centuries, I've never encountered someone like you. But why me? You barely know me. Precisely because you are an unknown quantity, Ei replied. You exist outside the established power structures of Teyvat. You owe no allegiance to the other nations or their archons. And most importantly, her voice softened almost imperceptibly. You understand what it means to contain immense power that others fear. Naruto thought of Kurama and all the years he spent hated and feared for what he contained. Yeah, I do. Then you understand why I might see value in an ally who shares such an experience. She's not telling you everything, Kurama warned. Gods rarely do. Fair enough, Naruto acknowledged both Kurama and Ei. But I need to know what I'm getting into. If I help you, what exactly will I be doing? I'm not assassinating people or anything. Nothing so crude, Ei seemed almost offended. I require someone who can move freely through Inazuma, investigating threats and handling situations too delicate for official channels. Someone powerful enough to face any danger, yet unknown to my enemies. She paused, then added, and yes, someone who could potentially wield the Musou no Hitotachi if circumstances demanded it. You trust me with that kind of power? A guy who literally dropped out of the sky a few hours ago. Trust? No, Ei said frankly. But I'm willing to test your potential while monitoring you closely. And if you prove worthy. She left the sentence unfinished. Naruto considered his options. He was stranded in a strange world with rules he didn't understand. Having the literal god of this region as an ally seemed smart, even if her motives weren't entirely clear. All right, he said finally. I'll help you with your investigations, and you'll help me find a way home. And in the meantime, you can teach me about this Musou no Hitotachi thing. Excellent. Ei actually smiled now, a small but genuine expression. We begin immediately. She raised her hand, and the plane of euthymia shimmered around them. First, let us see exactly what you're capable of. The floating islands rearranged themselves, creating a vast combat arena. Ei floated to one end, her Naginata materializing in her hand. Show me your full strength, Naruto Uzumaki, she called. Hold nothing back. Naruto grinned, excitement building despite the situation. You sure about that? Kurama and I can get pretty wild. Lightning arced across Ei's body as her hair began to float in an invisible current. Her eyes glowed with purple fire. I expect nothing less, she said, and attacked. EI moved like lightning itself, crossing the arena in a flash of purple energy. Her naginata sliced through the air where Naruto had stood a split second earlier. He barely dodged in time, rolling away and springing to his feet. Whoa! You don't mess around, he laughed, genuinely excited by her speed. In battle, hesitation means death, EI replied, already charging her next attack. The air around her blade distorted as she gathered energy. Naruto tried forming shadow clones again, focusing harder this time. To his relief, 3 clones popped into existence beside him. Ha! Getting the hang of it. He and his clones spread out, circling EI. She looked genuinely impressed. Duplication. Interesting. That's just the beginning. The clones rushed her from different angles. EI spun her naginata in a perfect circle, releasing a wave of electro energy that dispersed all 3 clones instantly. But Naruto had anticipated this, using the distraction to close in from above with a Rasengan. Their techniques collided with a thunderous explosion. Purple lightning and blue chakra spiraled outward, tearing chunks from the floating island beneath them. Naruto felt himself being pushed back by EI's raw power, but held his ground. Your technique, E observed as they strained against each other, it compresses and rotates energy. Ingenious. They separated, both sliding back several feet. Naruto's hand tingled from the electrical feedback. Thanks. Took forever to master. He flexed his fingers, noting how the ambient electro energy was flowing into his chakra pathways. Let's try something new. He formed another Rasengan, but this time deliberately pulled in the surrounding electro energy, mixing it with his wind-natured chakra. The technique grew, crackling with purple lightning that spiraled alongside the blue energy core. Electro Rasengan, he shouted, driving it toward EI. Her eyes widened in genuine surprise as she brought up her naginata to block. The impact sent her skidding backward across the platform. You adapt quickly, she acknowledged, a hint of respect in her voice. But adapting is not enough. She raised her weapon skyward, and the entire plane of Euthymia darkened. Lightning converged on her blade until it glowed white-hot with power. Witness a fraction of the Musou no Hitotachi, she intoned. The downward strike released a blade of pure electro energy that carved through the platform like paper, heading straight for Naruto. Need a boost, kid? Kurama's voice rumbled in his mind. Let's do it. Golden chakra enveloped Naruto's body as he entered his initial Jinchuriki form. The electro energy in the environment reacted violently, purple lightning intertwining with Kurama's golden chakra to create a swirling aura around him. EI's eyes widened. What is? Naruto met her energy blade with a chakra-enhanced punch. The collision created a shockwave that shattered nearby floating islands. For a moment, they were at a stalemate, divine lightning against Bijou chakra. Then Naruto pushed harder, his determination fueling both his and Kurama's power. The combined energy surged, dispersing EI's attack in a spectacular display of gold and purple light. The arena fell silent. EI stood motionless, her expression a mixture of shock and excitement. Impossible, she whispered. You deflected the Musou no Hitotachi. Naruto let Kurama's chakra fade, breathing hard. Not bad for my first day in Teyvat, huh? To his surprise, EI laughed, a short, surprised sound that seemed to startle even her. Indeed. You continue to exceed my expectations, Naruto Uzumaki. She approached him, naginata vanishing. The entity within you, Kurama, was it? His power is unlike anything in Teyvat. Yeah, he's pretty amazing, Naruto grinned. Though he gets grumpy when people talk about him like he's not here. I do not get grumpy, Kurama growled, which only made Naruto's grin widen. Can he manifest physically? EI asked, circling Naruto with renewed interest. Sort of. I can transform partially or fully, depending on how much of his chakra I use. Show me. Naruto called on more of Kurama's power, pushing past the initial Jinchuriki form into a partial transformation. Golden chakra enveloped him more completely, forming fox-like ears and multiple tails behind him. Ei reached out, her fingers passing through one of the chakra tails. Her expression was almost childlike in its wonder. Fascinating. It's neither elemental energy nor adeptal power. Something entirely new to this world. So, Naruto let the transformation fade. Did I pass your test? With unprecedented results, Ei nodded. You not only withstood the Musou no Hitotachi, but countered it. Your potential exceeds my initial assessment. She waved her hand, and the shattered arena reformed. Tea appeared on the table once more. Rest. We have much to discuss. As they sat, Naruto noticed Ei studying him with new intensity. What? I'm reassessing my plans, she admitted. Your abilities offer possibilities I hadn't considered. Like what? The Musou no Hitotachi requires precise control of electro energy. I believe teaching you would take months, perhaps years. But your natural affinity and adaptability may accelerate the process significantly. She poured tea for both of them. Tell me, in your world, what was your role? A warrior, clearly, but to what purpose? I'm a shinobi from Konoha, Naruto explained. We take missions, protect our village, keep the peace. Though honestly, most of my time lately has been spent fighting bigger threats, rogue ninjas, evil organizations, even a goddess trying to mind control everyone. Ei's eyebrow raised. You've faced a divine entity before. Kagaya Otsutsuki. Nasty piece of work. Wanted to trap everyone in an eternal dream world. Eternal. Ei murmured, something flickering in her eyes. Not unlike my pursuit of eternity, though our methods differ significantly. Yeah, your whole eternity thing still sounds pretty weird to me, Naruto said bluntly. Nothing stays the same forever. Change is how we grow. For a moment, Ei looked like she might argue, but instead sipped her tea thoughtfully. Your perspective is, refreshingly direct. Few in Inazuma would speak so boldly to the Electro Archon. Yeah, well, I've never been great with authority figures, Naruto grinned. Just ask any of my teachers. Indeed. The corner of Ei's mouth twitched upward. Perhaps that's precisely what makes you valuable. A perspective untainted by fear or reverence. She set down her cup. I have a proposition. While we investigate how you came to Teyvat and how you might return home, you will serve as my. She paused, searching for the right word, consultant. Consultant? Naruto repeated skeptically. An advisor outside the shogunate's official hierarchy. Someone who can move freely, investigate matters of concern, and report directly to me. Her eyes met his. And someone who can learn to wield the Musou no Hitotachi should circumstances require it. And in exchange, I will devote resources to researching dimensional travel, provide you with knowledge of Teyvat, and grant you certain privileges within Inazuma. Naruto considered the offer. What kind of matters of concern are we talking about? The Fatui agents from Snezhnaya have grown increasingly bold in their operations within Inazuma. The resistance on Watatsumi Island gathers strength, led by the Sangonomiya priestess. And there are rumors of strange occurrences, rifts similar to the one that brought you here appearing briefly throughout the nation. You think more people from my world might be coming through? It's possible, Ei acknowledged. Or perhaps your arrival weakened the barriers between our worlds. The implications hit Naruto like a physical blow. If Sasuke or the Akatsuki found their way to Teyvat, or worse, if something from this world crossed into the Five Nations. Alright, he decided. I'll be your consultant. But I have conditions. Ei looked amused. You presume to negotiate with an Archon? Yep, Naruto said without hesitation. First, no killing unless absolutely necessary. Second, I need the freedom to follow my own conscience. And third, he leaned forward, you have to be straight with me. No godly manipulation or half-truths. For a long moment, Ei simply stared at him. Then, surprisingly, she smiled, a small but genuine expression. Your boldness continues to surprise me, Naruto Uzumaki. Very well. I accept your conditions, with one caveat of my own: when I give a direct order, you will obey without question. Only if the order makes sense and doesn't go against my ninjutsu way, Naruto countered. Ei's eyes narrowed, but there was something like respect in them. We shall see how this arrangement evolves. She extended her hand. Do we have an agreement? Naruto took her hand. The moment they touched, purple lightning crackled between them, neither painful nor threatening, but like a recognition between their energies. Agreement sealed, Ei said softly, with the Archon's mark. Naruto felt a warm tingle on his right palm. Looking down, he saw a small, stylized purple lightning bolt glowing briefly on his skin before fading. What was that? A connection, Ei explained. It will allow you to channel electro energy more efficiently and serve as proof of your association with me when needed. She stood, and the plane of euthymia began to shimmer around them. Rest tonight. Tomorrow, your training begins, and your first assignment. The world blurred, and suddenly they were back in the throne room of the Tenshukaku. The Raiden Shogun puppet sat motionless on the throne, exactly as they had left her. Ei gestured, and the puppet's eyes opened. My vessel will make arrangements for your accommodation and needs. Kuju Sera will serve as your liaison when I am occupied with my duties. So I just talk to your puppet when I need something? Naruto asked. The Shogun will recognize you as one under my protection, Ei confirmed. Though I would advise against casual conversation. She is single-minded in her purpose. Got it. Robot goddess, not a chatty type. Ei almost smiled again. An apt description. Until tomorrow, Naruto Uzumaki. With that, Ei's presence seemed to withdraw, and the Shogun's posture stiffened subtly. When she spoke next, her voice was colder, more mechanical. You will be escorted to suitable quarters. Tomorrow at dawn, you will begin your duties. Naruto bowed awkwardly, still trying to process everything that had happened since he'd crashed into this strange world. This Archon is using you for her own purposes, Kurama warned as they followed a servant out of the throne room. Probably, Naruto admitted silently. But for now, we need allies in this world. And hey, learning a god-killing sword technique sounds pretty cool, right? Kurama snorted. Just be careful, kid. Gods are the same in any world, powerful, secretive, and always with their own agenda. Yeah, well, Naruto glanced back at the throne where the Shogun sat perfectly still, at least this one seems interesting. Dawn broke over Inazuma in spectacular fashion. Purple-tinged clouds parted to reveal a sun that cast everything in a warm glow. Naruto stood on the balcony of his assigned quarters, a surprisingly luxurious set of rooms in one of the palace's wings. He'd spent half the night trying shadow clones and other techniques, testing how his chakra behaved in this world. Some jutsu worked perfectly, others required adjustment, and a few simply fizzled out entirely. The environmental electro energy seemed to enhance lightning-style techniques while interfering with certain others. A sharp knock interrupted his experiments. Enter, he called, dismissing his latest attempt at a Rasengan variant. Kuju Sera stepped into the room, her expression stern as ever. Her Excellency commands your presence for training. Follow me. Good morning to you too, Naruto grinned, falling into step beside her. So, you're like the Shogun's right-hand woman, huh? I am the Tenryu Commission's general and the head of the Kuju clan, Sera replied stiffly. My loyalty to Her Excellency is absolute. Cool, cool. So you know about the whole puppet situation, right? That sometimes it's Ei talking and sometimes it's the Shogun? Sera stopped abruptly, turning to face him with narrowed eyes. Her Excellency has shared information with you that few are privileged to know. Do not speak of such matters casually, outsider. Sorry, Naruto held up his hands. Still figuring out the rules here. Rule 1, respect the almighty shogun, Sarah resumed walking. Rule 2, do not question her decisions. Rule 3, carry out your duties with unwavering dedication. Got it. Respect, don't question, be dedicated. Anything else? Sarah shot him a look that suggested she was considering pushing him off the nearest balcony. Yes. Stay out of my way unless ordered otherwise. They reached a secluded courtyard surrounded by cherry trees. In the center stood the shogun, holding her naginata perfectly still as purple energy crackled around her. Her Excellency awaits, Sarah announced, bowing deeply. I shall return when your training concludes. As Sarah left, the shogun turned to face Naruto. Immediately, he sensed the difference. This was EI, not the puppet. You slept well, she asked, her tone slightly warmer than the previous day. Yeah, once I got used to all the electro energy buzzing around, Naruto stretched. This world feels different, like the air is charged all the time. In Inazuma, it is, EI confirmed. My domain resonates with electro energy, just as other nations resonate with their respective elements. She gestured for him to approach. Today, we begin with the fundamentals. Before you can wield the Musou no Hitotachi, you must understand the nature of electro. I've used lightning-style jutsu before, Naruto mentioned. Is it similar? In principle, perhaps, EI considered. But electro is more than simple lightning. It encompasses energy in all forms, potential, kinetic, spiritual. It is the element of transition and transformation. She raised her hand, and purple electricity danced between her fingers. Your chakra naturally draws in and adapts to the ambient elemental energy. Today, we will teach you to control that process. For the next several hours, EI put Naruto through exercises unlike any he'd experienced before. He learned to sense the flow of electro energy around him, to draw it in deliberately rather than accidentally, and to channel it through his existing techniques. Your Rasengan, he observed as he formed the technique for the dozenth time, it's primarily wind-natured, correct? Naruto nodded, maintaining the swirling sphere in his palm. Yeah, that's my natural affinity. Interesting. In Teyvat, Anemo and Electro can interact in powerful ways. She circled him, studying the technique. Try to maintain the wind aspect while deliberately drawing in Electro. Naruto concentrated, feeling the difference between his own chakra and the ambient electro energy. Slowly, he pulled the purple energy into his Rasengan without disrupting its core structure. The result was spectacular, a Rasengan with a swirling core of wind chakra surrounded by dancing arcs of purple lightning. Perfect, Ie nodded, actually looking pleased. The balance is key. Too much electro would destabilize the technique. Naruto grinned, excitement building as he maintained the electrified Rasengan. This feels amazing. Like having two nature transformations at once. Indeed. In Teyvat, certain vision holders can achieve similar effects through years of practice. Something like pride flickered in EI's eyes. You've accomplished it in hours. The training continued with EI teaching Naruto to manifest pure electro energy without relying on his existing techniques, creating lightning from his fingertips, generating electromagnetic fields, even briefly infusing his entire body with electro to enhance his speed. By midday, Naruto was exhausted but exhilarated. This is incredible. With this kind of control, I could create all sorts of new jutsu. Your enthusiasm is admirable, EI said, but do not overextend yourself. Elemental manipulation on this scale taxes even vision holders. She dismissed her naginata, which had been floating nearby throughout their training. We will continue tomorrow. For now, you have earned rest and sustenance. On cue, servants appeared with trays of food. Naruto's stomach growled loudly at the sight. Please tell me one of those dishes is ramen, he said hopefully. EI looked genuinely confused. Ramen? Noodles in broth? The food of the gods. When EI still looked blank, Naruto clutched his heart dramatically. Oh man, don't tell me this world doesn't have ramen. That's a tragedy. To his surprise, EI's lips twitched in what might have been amusement. I'm sure the palace kitchens can accommodate your request for future meals. For now, Inazuman cuisine should suffice. They ate beneath a cherry tree, Naruto devouring multiple servings while EI ate with precise, measured movements. Despite her divine status, she seemed to genuinely enjoy the food. So, Naruto said between bites, about that assignment you mentioned yesterday? Yes. EI set down her chopsticks. There have been reports of strange energy. Disturbances in Ritu, similar to the anomaly that accompanied your arrival. Naruto paused mid-bite. You think more people from my world might be coming through? It's possible, EI acknowledged. Or perhaps objects, animals, or mere echoes of dimensional instability. Either way, it warrants investigation. And you want me to check it out because I might recognize something from my world? Precisely. Additionally, your status as a newcomer to Inazuma provides excellent cover. No one will question a foreigner exploring Ritu. Naruto considered this. Makes sense. When do I leave? This afternoon. Kyocera will provide you with appropriate attire, funds, and a cover identity. EI studied him thoughtfully. While in public, you will need to suppress your more distinctive abilities. The shadow clones, in particular, would draw unwanted attention. Yeah, figured that might be the case, Naruto sighed. So what's my cover story? A trader from a distant land, seeking to establish connections in Inazuma. The shogunate has granted you special permission to travel within the nation, a privilege few outsiders currently enjoy. Due to something called the Vision Hunt Decree, right? Naruto asked. I overheard servants talking about it. EI's expression tightened slightly. Yes. It is a necessary measure to ensure Inazuma's eternity. Those with visions pose potential threats to the established order. By established order, you mean your order, Naruto said bluntly. You're taking away people's powers because they might challenge you. The air around them crackled with sudden tension. You speak on matters you do not fully understand, Naruto Uzumaki. Maybe, he shrugged, unintimidated. Or maybe I understand better than you think. I've seen what happens when leaders try to control everything out of fear. It is not fear, EI said coldly. It is wisdom born of centuries watching mortal ambitions lead to conflict and suffering. And your solution is to just, stop everything. Freeze the world in place. Naruto shook his head. That's not protecting people, that's controlling them. For a moment, EI's eyes flashed dangerously, and Naruto thought he might have pushed too far. Then, surprisingly, she sighed, a very human sound from a deity. Your perspective is noted, she said finally. Though uninformed by the long history of this world. Fair enough, Naruto conceded. I've got a lot to learn about Teyvat. But where I come from, protecting people means giving them the freedom to grow and change, not locking them in place. EI studied him with renewed interest. You speak with conviction rare among mortals. It reminds me of. She trailed off, something like nostalgia crossing her face before she banished it. No matter. We have more pressing concerns than philosophical debates. She stood gracefully. Kyocera will provide details for your mission to Ritu. Return by tomorrow evening with your findings. What if I discover more people from my world? Naruto asked, rising as well. Assess whether they pose a threat to Inazuma, EI instructed. If they do not, bring them to me. If they do. Her expression hardened. Neutralize the threat. I don't kill unless there's absolutely no other choice, Naruto said firmly. Then subdue them by whatever means necessary, EI amended. But do not allow interdimensional threats to roam freely in my domain. She turned to leave, then paused. One last thing. During your investigation, you may encounter resistance members or Fatui agents. Avoid engaging them directly if possible, but gather any intelligence they might provide. Got it. Sneak around, check out the weird energy, look out for resistance and Fatui, bring back info. EI nodded. You learn quickly. Perhaps there is hope for our arrangement after all. With that, she was gone, not walking away, but simply vanishing in a flash of purple lightning, leaving Naruto alone in the courtyard. An interesting god, this Raiden EI, Kurama commented. Powerful, certainly, but conflicted in ways she may not even recognize. Yeah, Naruto agreed, watching cherry blossoms drift in the breeze. Reminds me a bit of Gaara before we fought, all that power and responsibility, but isolated from everyone around her. And you're already planning to fix her, aren't you? Kurama sounded somewhere between amused and exasperated. Naruto grinned. Hey, it worked with you, didn't it? Besides, anyone that hung up on eternity clearly needs to loosen up a bit. Just remember, Kit, this isn't our world. Their gods play by different rules. Rules are made to be broken, Naruto stretched, feeling the new electro energy tingling in his chakra pathways. Now let's go check out this Rita place and see if anyone else got pulled into this crazy world. Rita hummed with the energy of a bustling port town. Ships from distant lands lined the docks, merchants haggled in dozens of languages, and the air smelled of salt, spices, and opportunity. Despite the Vision Hunt decree limiting foreign travel, Rita remained Inazuma's gateway to the world, closely monitored, but vibrant nonetheless. Naruto blended in surprisingly well in the clothes Sarah had provided, a simplified Inazuman outfit in dark blue with subtle orange accents, practical for movement while looking appropriately foreign. A small pouch of local currency hung at his waist, alongside papers identifying him as Nato, a trader from a distant land granted special travel privileges. Remember, Sarah had instructed sternly, maintain your cover at all costs. Her Excellency's involvement must remain secret. Naruto strolled through the marketplace, all senses alert for anything unusual. The energy disturbance DI mentioned was supposedly near the southern docks, but he decided to circle through town first, getting a feel for Ritu and its people. Everywhere he looked, he saw signs of the shogunate's authority. Samurai patrolled in pairs, inspecting travelers' papers. Merchants carefully avoided mentioning visions or resistance activities in public. Even children played quietly, aware of the watchful eyes around them. Not exactly the freest place, is it? Naruto muttered to himself. Reminds me of Kirigakure during the Bloody Mist era, Kurama observed. Control through fear rather than loyalty. And EI wonders why there's a resistance, Naruto sighed. He paused at a street vendor selling strange, glowing fruits he'd never seen before. As he examined them curiously, a commotion erupted nearby. Please, I have permission to be here, a man protested as two shogunate samurai dragged him from his stall. My papers are in order. New directive, one samurai stated flatly. All merchants from Sumeru must report for additional screening. But my goods will spoil. I have a family to feed. The samurai ignored his pleas, confiscating his merchandise while preparing to escort him away. Naruto's fists clenched. Before he could intervene, however, a voice spoke from behind him. Quite tragic, isn't it? The shogun's paranoia grows by the day. Naruto turned to find a tall, elegant man with a distinctive mask covering half his face. His clothing was foreign, not Inazuman in style, and something about his presence put Naruto immediately on guard. Yeah, seems a bit harsh, Naruto replied cautiously. Does this happen often? Increasingly so, the man sighed theatrically. The Vision Hunt decree was merely the beginning. Now, all foreigners find themselves under suspicion. You don't seem worried, Naruto observed. The man smiled thinly. Let's just say some of us have arrangements with the right officials. Diplomatic immunity. Something like that. The man extended his hand. Pantalone, at your service. And you are? Naruto replied, shaking the offered hand briefly. Just arrived from, far away. Indeed. How fortunate you received permission to enter Inazuma. The Sakoku decree has made such travel nearly impossible for most. Naruto shrugged. Got lucky with my paperwork, I guess. Luck, is it? Pantalone's eyes narrowed slightly. In my experience, there's no such thing as luck in Inazuma, only favor and disfavor from the almighty shogun. Before Naruto could respond, a small child bumped into Pantalone while running past. The man's hand shot out with inhuman speed, grabbing the child's wrist. Careful, little one, he said, voice suddenly cold. It's dangerous to run so recklessly. The child trembled, eyes wide with fear. Sorry, sir. Naruto stepped forward, placing himself between Pantalone and the child. Hey, no harm done, right? Kids will be kids. Pantalone released the child, who immediately scurried away. Of course. No harm done, this time. The subtle threat in his tone wasn't lost on Naruto. You seem pretty important. What brings someone like you to a small port like Ridu? Business, naturally. The Fatui have interests throughout Teyvat, even in restricted nations. Fatui. The foreign agents EI had mentioned. Naruto kept his expression neutral despite the internal alert. Well, good luck with your business, Naruto said cheerfully. I should get going. Lots to see on my first day. Indeed. Pantalone smiled without warmth. Inazuma has many wonders to discover. Though I advise caution. Some discoveries can be hazardous to one's health. With a slight bow, the man turned and walked away, his movements unnaturally precise. That one reeks of danger, Kurama growled. And he was taking your measure. Yeah, Naruto agreed silently. Think he bought my cover? Doubtful. But he's uncertain enough to wait and watch rather than act immediately. Naruto continued through the market, now acutely aware of being observed. Not just by Pantalone's people, he spotted at least 2 followers in Fatui colors, but also by shogunate guards who seemed to take special notice of him despite his papers. As he approached the southern docks, Naruto felt a familiar tingling sensation. The mark EI had placed on his palm was reacting to something nearby. Following the sensation led him to a secluded area behind stacks of cargo crates. The air here shimmered oddly, like heat waves over desert sand. Stretching out his hand, Naruto felt his mark pulse in response to whatever energy distorted the space. Definitely not natural, he murmured, focusing his senses. The energy signature wasn't exactly like the one that had brought him to Teyvat, but it was similar, like an echo or aftershock of the same phenomenon. Naruto glanced around to ensure he was unobserved, then formed a shadow clone. Keep watch, he instructed it quietly. With privacy secured, he pressed his palm directly against the shimmering air. Immediately, visions flashed through his mind, the Valley of the End, Sasuke's face, the collision of their final attacks, and then, a tearing sensation as reality itself split open. It's connected, he realized. A residual link to the same event that brought me here. Focusing chakra to his hand, Naruto tried to stabilize the distortion. The shimmering intensified, and for a brief moment, he caught a glimpse of something on the other side, trees, rocky cliffs, and what might have been a figure moving in the distance. Hello? He called out, pouring more chakra into the connection. Can anyone hear me? The image flickered, then collapsed entirely. The shimmering air stilled, leaving nothing but empty space. Damn it! Naruto slammed his fist against a nearby crate. I almost had something. His clone suddenly dispelled itself, transferring its memories. Someone was approaching. Naruto quickly stepped away from the spot, adopting a casual pose examining cargo labels when a dockworker rounded the corner. "Hey, you're not supposed to be back here," the man called. "This area's restricted." "Sorry, got turned around," Naruto smiled apologetically. "Looking for the ferry to Narukami Island." The dockworker pointed toward the main harbor. "That way. And stick to public areas unless you want trouble with the Tenryu Commission." "Got it, thanks." Naruto headed in the indicated direction, mind racing with implications of what he'd discovered. The dimensional disturbance was definitely related to his arrival. More importantly, it seemed to be a two-way connection, however unstable. If he could somehow strengthen it. "I might actually have a way home," he murmured. "Or a way for something to come through from our world," Kurama cautioned. "Remember, you weren't the only powerful being at the Valley of the End." Naruto sobered at the thought of Sasuke, or worse, someone like Madara, finding their way to Teyvat. As he pondered these possibilities, a familiar face appeared in the crowd ahead, Kimiko, the merchant woman he'd saved from treasure hoarders on his first day. She spotted him too, eyes widening in recognition before she quickly glanced around and approached. "You," she said quietly. "I didn't expect to see you again, let alone walking freely in Ritu." "Yeah, turns out I've got friends in high places," Naruto grinned. "Very high," Kimiko agreed, lowering her voice further. "There are rumors about a strange foreigner taken directly to the Tenshukaku." "That was you, wasn't it?" "News travels fast. In Inazuma, gossip is sometimes the only freedom we have left," Kimiko said with a sad smile. "But be careful. Such attention makes you a target for many factions." "Speaking of which," Naruto said casually, "I met someone interesting today." Tall guy, half mask, called himself Pantalone. Kimiko's face paled. "You spoke with a Fatui Harbinger?" "Directly? Is that bad?" "The Harbingers are the Tsaritsa's most dangerous agents," she whispered urgently. "They don't involve themselves in trivial matters. If Pantalone took notice of you—" "Yeah, I got the feeling he wasn't just being friendly," Naruto acknowledged. "Any idea what the Fatui might want in Rita specifically?" Kimiko hesitated, then drew him further from the main path. "There have been incidents. Strange lights in the sky, peculiar sounds at night. Some fishermen claim they saw the sea split open 3 days ago, revealing another world beneath the waves. That's when I arrived," Naruto realized. "The Fatui arrived hours later," Kimiko continued. "They've been scouring Ritu ever since, offering rewards for information about anything unusual. They're looking for dimensional disturbances," Naruto concluded. "Or maybe for me specifically." "I don't know what you're involved in," Kimiko said earnestly, "but please be careful. The Fatui are not to be trusted, nor is the shogunate in these troubled times." Naruto smiled reassuringly. "Don't worry about me. I'm tougher than I look." "I believe that," she replied, remembering how he'd handled the treasure hoarders. "But if you need allies—" She hesitated, then pressed a small wooden token into his hand. "Show this at the Komore Tea House in Inazuma City. Ask for Haizu. He might be able to help." Before Naruto could ask more questions, Kimiko spotted something over his shoulder and quickly stepped back. "I should go. Good luck, stranger." As she melted into the crowd, Naruto pocketed the token and turned to find 2 shogunate samurai watching him intently. "Nato of the distant lands," one addressed him formally. "Your presence is requested by the Tenryu Commission." "Am I in trouble?" Naruto asked, though he suspected this was Sarah's way of extracting him. "We are not authorized to say. Please come with us." Naruto allowed himself to be escorted through Ritu, noting how people stepped aside, avoiding eye contact with the samurai. Fear, not respect, guided their reactions. "Your Electro Archon rules through intimidation," Kurama observed. "A fragile foundation for any leadership." "She's not my Electro Archon," Naruto thought back. "But yeah, Something's definitely off about how things work here. The samurai led him to an official building where, to his surprise, Kuju Sera herself waited, looking as stern as ever. "Leave us," she commanded the samurai, who bowed and departed immediately. Once alone, Sera fixed Naruto with an intense gaze. "Report. What did you discover?" Naruto described the dimensional disturbance, his brief glimpse of what might have been the other side, and the Fatsui's apparent interest in the phenomenon. "The Harbinger's personal involvement is concerning," Sera frowned. "Pantalone rarely acts directly unless the stakes are significant." "He was definitely sizing me up," Naruto agreed. "Like he knew or suspected something about me. The Fatsui have extensive intelligence networks. Your sudden appearance and special treatment would naturally draw their attention." Sera paced the small room. "Did you sense any other disturbances beyond the one at the docks?" "No, but I didn't get to search the whole area. That Pantalone guy had people tailing me." Sera stopped pacing. "This confirms Her Excellency's suspicions. The dimensional breach that brought you here has created lingering weaknesses between worlds. Can these weak spots be used to get me home?" "Perhaps," Sera acknowledged. "But they might also allow others to cross over, in either direction." The implication hung heavily between them. Naruto thought of the threats in his world, Akatsuki, Orochimaru, even Sasuke in his current state. If they discovered a path to Teyvat. "We need to secure these dimensional weak points," Naruto said decisively. "Studying them is fine, but we can't risk something dangerous coming through." "Her Excellency shares your concern," Sera nodded. "She has authorized additional resources for this investigation." "Good. So what's our next move?" "You will return to the Tenshukaku tonight to report directly to Her Excellency. Tomorrow, you'll begin surveying other locations where similar disturbances have been detected." Sera handed him a small scroll. "These are the coordinates. Memorize them, then destroy the scroll." As Naruto reviewed the locations, spread across several islands of Inazuma, Sera watched him with undisguised suspicion. "Her Excellency places great trust in you, outsider," she said finally. "A trust one do not yet share." "That's fair," Naruto shrugged. "I haven't exactly earned your trust yet." "No, you haven't. Nor do I understand Her Excellency's interest in training you to wield the Musou no Hitotachi." "That makes two of us," Naruto admitted. "But I'm pretty good at exceeding expectations." "We shall see." Sera opened the door. "A boat waits to return you to Narukami Island. Do not deviate from the assigned route." As they exited the building, Naruto felt eyes on him again, not Shogun at this time, but someone else. Scanning the crowded street, he caught a glimpse of Pantalone watching from a balcony, his expression unreadable behind his half-mask. "We've got company," Naruto muttered to Sera. She followed his gaze and tensed visibly. "Harbinger Pantalone. This complicates matters. Want me to lose him? I'm pretty good at giving people the slip." "No," Sera decided. "Let him see you return with shogunate escort. It reinforces your cover as someone with official connections without revealing your true role." They proceeded to the docks, Naruto acutely aware of being watched from multiple directions now, Fatsui agents, certainly, but also others lurking in shadows. Inazuma's political landscape was clearly more complex than EI had initially let on. As they boarded the waiting ship, Sera spoke quietly. "Be vigilant. The Fatsui's interest means your identity and purpose may not remain secret for long." "I can handle myself," Naruto assured her. "It's not you I'm concerned about," Sera replied. "Her Excellency has placed tremendous faith in an outsider. If that faith proves misplaced." She left the threat unspoken, but Naruto understood perfectly. His unique position came with equally unique dangers. As the boat pulled away from Ritu, Naruto watched the port town recede into the distance. Somewhere in that bustling harbor was a weak point between worlds, a potential way home, but also a potential threat to both Teyvat and the Five Nations. Things are getting complicated, Kit, Kurama observed. When aren't they? Naruto replied silently, turning to face Narukami Island and the imposing silhouette of the Tenshukaku. But at least it's never boring. Behind them, storm clouds gathered over Ritu, purple lightning flashing ominously within them, a sign that the Electro Archon herself was watching developments with great interest. Chapter 2, Thunder and Maelstrom Lightning split the pre-dawn sky as Naruto stood atop the highest training ground in the Tenshukaku complex. Barefoot and dressed only in simple hakama pants, he focused on channeling electro energy through his body. Purple electricity crackled between his fingers, building in intensity until his entire arm glowed with power. Again, Ei commanded from where she stood, arms crossed. Pull the energy from your core, not the environment. Naruto gritted his teeth, sweat beading on his forehead despite the cool morning air. 2 weeks of intensive training had taught him that mastering Electro wasn't as simple as adapting his chakra. I'm trying, he grunted, the lightning flickering as he attempted to shift its source. It's like trying to reverse a river. Your chakra naturally draws external energy inward, I explained for what felt like the 100th time. The Musou no Hitotachi requires generating power from within, then projecting it outward with perfect control. Naruto took a deep breath, closing his eyes to better visualize his chakra network. He'd spent years learning to blend his energy with nature's, now he needed to do the opposite. Focus on your connection to me, Ei suggested, stepping closer. The mark on his palm tingled in response to her proximity. That link can guide the energy flow. Naruto concentrated on the sensation, feeling the resonance between his mark and Ei's power. Gradually, the external electricity retreated, replaced by energy welling up from his own core, hotter, more intense, and distinctly different from the ambient electro of Inazuma. When he opened his eyes, his entire body glowed with purple fire from within. I got it, he exclaimed, grinning triumphantly. Ei nodded, a rare hint of approval in her eyes. Better. Now, channel it through the blade. She gestured, and a servant approached carrying a katana on a lacquered tray. The sword was beautiful but unadorned, a training weapon rather than a ceremonial piece. Naruto took it carefully, feeling the weight and balance. Unlike Ei's Naginata, the katana was designed for swift, precise strikes, perfect for focusing the concentrated energy he'd just mastered. Remember, Ei instructed, the Musou no Hitotachi is not simply a powerful attack. It is the manifestation of divine judgment, a single strike that represents absolute finality. No pressure or anything, Naruto muttered, positioning himself in the stance Ei had drilled into him over countless hours. In your terms, Ei continued, ignoring his comment, think of it as condensing an entire battle's worth of power into a single moment. Naruto thought of Sasuke's Chidori, how it gathered tremendous chakra into a focused point. The Musou no Hitotachi seemed to operate on similar principles, but on a vastly greater scale. He inhaled deeply, gathering the internal electro energy into his core, then channeled it along his arms toward the blade. The katana trembled, purple lightning crawling along its edge. Now! Ei commanded. Naruto swung downward with everything he had. A blade of purple energy extended from the katana, slicing through the air and striking a training dummy 50 feet away. The dummy exploded into splinters, and the energy continued, carving a 4-foot gash into the stone platform behind it. Whoa! Naruto stared at the destruction, then at the now smoking katana in his hands. That was just a fraction of what you can do, wasn't it? Less than 100th, Ei confirmed, examining the damage with a critical eye. But for 2 weeks of training, it's acceptable progress. From Ei, that was practically effusive praise. Naruto grinned, spinning the sword experimentally. So when do I get to try the real thing? When you can perform that technique 50 times in succession without destroying the training blade, Ei replied, turning away. The true Musou no Hitotachi requires perfect control, not just raw power. Naruto's shoulders slumped as he looked at the scorched, warped metal of the katana. That might take a while. Indeed. EI paused, glancing back at him. But you continue to progress faster than anticipated. Your adaptability is impressive. Coming from her, the compliment meant something. Despite her cool exterior, Naruto had begun to notice subtle changes in EI over their training sessions, moments where her eternal composure slipped to reveal something more human underneath. "Thanks," he said sincerely. "I've got a good teacher." For a fleeting instant, something like surprise flickered across EI's face. She covered it quickly, but not before Naruto caught it. "Your investigation continues today," she said, changing the subject. "The dimensional disturbance in Konda village requires attention." "Right." Naruto handed the ruined katana to a waiting attendant. Sarah mentioned villagers reporting strange dreams and lost time, classic signs of reality getting thin. "Correct. Additionally, the village shrine may be significant. Ancient records suggest it was built to contain an entity from beyond Teyvat." Naruto raised an eyebrow. "So not my first interdimensional visitor?" "Inazuma has a long history of unusual phenomena," EI acknowledged. "Though none quite like your arrival." She turned to leave, then hesitated. "Exercise caution in Konda village. The Tenryu Commission's reach there is limited, and both Fatui and resistance sympathizers operate in the region." "I'll be careful," Naruto promised. "Though I'm still not clear on this whole resistance thing. What exactly are they resisting?" EI's expression cooled. "Misguided individuals who oppose the Vision Hunt Decree and Sakoku Decree. They fail to understand these measures are necessary for Inazuma's eternal prosperity. By taking away people's powers and isolating the country." Naruto shook his head. "Gotta say, still sounds counterproductive to me." Lightning crackled briefly around EI as her temper flared. "You speak of matters beyond your understanding." "Maybe," Naruto shrugged, unintimidated. "Or maybe sometimes it takes an outsider to see what's really going on." For a tense moment, they locked eyes, mortal and deity in silent confrontation. Then, surprisingly, EI's expression softened slightly. "Your perspective is noted," she said finally. "Though it changes nothing." As she turned to leave, Naruto called after her, "Hey, one more question, this resistance leader, the Sangonomiya priestess. What's her deal?" EI paused. "Kokomi is young, idealistic, and dangerous precisely because she believes her cause is just. Do not underestimate her if your paths cross." "Sounds like someone I'd get along with," Naruto grinned. "Precisely why I advise caution," EI replied dryly. "Your penchant for befriending opponents is concerning." With that, she vanished in a flash of purple lightning, leaving Naruto alone on the training platform as the sun finally crested the horizon, painting Inazuma in gold and lavender light. Konda village nestled in a picturesque valley, surrounded by terraced rice fields and bamboo groves. On the surface, it looked like a peaceful farming community, a stark contrast to Rita's bustling commercial energy or Inazuma City's rigid formality. Naruto arrived dressed in modest traveler's clothes, his shogunate papers tucked away but accessible if needed. He'd learned quickly that flashing official documentation often closed more doors than it opened among common folk. Remember, Sarah had instructed during his briefing, your role is to observe and report, not to engage directly unless absolutely necessary. Yeah, Naruto had replied. Blend in, look for weird dimensional stuff, avoid picking fights. Got it. Now, strolling into the village square, he took in the atmosphere. People moved with the unhurried rhythm of rural life, tending gardens, carrying water, repairing tools. But beneath the tranquility, Naruto sensed tension, conversations that stopped when strangers approached, wary glances toward the shogunate inspection post at the village entrance. These people are scared, Naruto murmured to himself. Not just scared, Kurama observed. Divided. Look at how they cluster in groups, avoiding others from their own village. The fox was right. Subtle signs of division appeared everywhere, certain homes with shogunate symbols prominently displayed, others with suspiciously bare walls where such symbols might once have hung. Naruto approached a small tea shop overlooking the village square. Perfect for people watching while gathering information. "Welcome, traveler." The proprietor, an elderly woman with a kind face, greeted him warmly. "We don't get many visitors these days. What brings you to Konda?" "Just passing through," Naruto smiled, accepting a cup of steaming tea. "Heard there's a beautiful shrine here I should visit." The woman's expression flickered briefly. "The sacred Sakura shrine?" "Yes, very beautiful. Though lately." "Lately?" Naruto prompted when she trailed off. She glanced around nervously, then leaned closer. "Strange happenings, you know. People claiming they've seen things at night, lights, shadows moving on their own. My grandson says he heard whispers coming from inside the shrine when nobody was there." "Really? Sounds spooky. The shogunate officials say it's nothing, just superstitious nonsense." She shrugged. "But something doesn't feel right. Even the sacred Sakura tree seems restless." Naruto sipped his tea, listening as she continued sharing local gossip. Between the lines, he gathered valuable intelligence. The village headman was firmly pro-shogun, while younger residents increasingly sympathized with the resistance. 3 villagers had lost visions during recent inspections. And most interestingly, several people reported experiencing the same dream, a vast sea beneath a purple sky, with a foreign city visible beneath the waves. Sounds a lot like Konoha, Naruto thought. The dimensional barrier must be thin here. As he finished his tea, a commotion erupted in the square. 2 shogunate soldiers were confronting a young man, demanding to see his traveling papers. "I told you, I'm from Konda," the youth protested. "I've lived here all my life." "Then why were you seen speaking with known resistance sympathizers in Rita yesterday?" one soldier demanded, shoving the young man roughly. Naruto tensed, instinctively ready to intervene. The tea shop owner touched his arm lightly. "Don't," she whispered. "It will only make things worse." Before Naruto could decide, an authoritative voice cut through the confrontation. "That's enough." A man strode into the square, tall, wearing simple but elegant clothing, with a vision glowing at his belt. The soldiers immediately straightened. "Commissioner Hiragi," they bowed. "We were just harassing my assistant," the man finished coolly. "Tyrannosuke is conducting official business for the Hiragi clan. His papers are in order." He produced a document bearing an elaborate seal. The soldiers examined it, then reluctantly released the young man. "Our apologies, Commissioner. We received reports." "I'm well aware of what reports you received," Hiragi cut them off. "Perhaps focus your energies on actual threats rather than chasing rumors." The soldiers bowed again and retreated, casting venomous glances at the young man as they left. The commissioner turned to Tyrannosuke. "Are you hurt?" "No, sir. Thank you for your intervention. Return to your duties. I'll handle things here." As the young man hurried away, the commissioner's gaze swept the square, pausing briefly on Naruto before moving on. His expression revealed nothing, but Naruto sensed the man's calculated assessment. "Interesting," Naruto murmured. "That's Hiragi Shinsuke," the tea shop owner explained quietly. "Head of one of the Tricommission families. Very powerful, very dangerous to cross." He seemed almost protective of the villagers. "The Hiragi clan has always maintained good relations with Konda village." She shrugged. "Some say it's genuine concern, others believe it's just politics. Either way, his presence keeps the more zealous shogunate officers in check." Naruto finished his tea, leaving payment that included a generous tip. "Thanks for the conversation. Any advice on the best time to visit the shrine?" "Sunset," she replied without hesitation. "When the light hits the sacred tree just right, they say that's when the barrier between worlds is thinnest." Naruto's eyes widened slightly at her choice of words, but he kept his expression casual. Sounds perfect. I'll head there later. As he left the tea shop, Naruto sensed he was being watched. Scanning the village subtly, he spotted several observers, a shogunate soldier trying too hard to appear disinterested, a woman in foreign clothes sketching what might have been a map, and, most interestingly, Commissioner Hiragi himself, now engaged in conversation with village elders while periodically glancing in Naruto's direction. Popular guy, Naruto muttered to Kurama. Your cover identity may not be as convincing as you thought, the fox replied. Or perhaps dimensional disturbances attract attention from multiple factions. Guess I'll find out at the shrine. Naruto stretched casually, then headed toward the village outskirts, making a show of examining local crafts and architecture while actually mapping escape routes and defensive positions, a shinobi habit that had served him well countless times. The sacred Sakura shrine stood atop a gentle hill overlooking Konda village. Stone steps wound through torii gates toward a massive tree that glowed with faint purple energy, similar to but distinct from EI's electro power. As Naruto approached, the mark on his palm tingled. Something about this place resonated with the connection EI had established. The shrine itself was modest, a small wooden structure beside the great tree, with a stone altar and offering box. No priests or attendants were visible, which seemed unusual for such an apparently important site. Hello. Naruto called out, climbing the final steps. Anyone here? No response came, but the air felt charged, like the moment before a lightning strike. Drawing closer to the sacred tree, Naruto noticed something odd. While its trunk glowed purple, its leaves shimmered with multiple colors, creating a prismatic effect where sunlight filtered through. This isn't just an ordinary tree, he realized. No, Kurama agreed. It's channeling natural energy, not unlike Sage Mode, but filtered through something else. Naruto placed his palm against the trunk. Immediately, visions flashed through his mind, fragments of memories not his own, a terrible battle between godlike beings. A tear in reality sealed by sacrifice. Centuries of watchful guardianship. And recently, a disturbance, his arrival creating ripples across ancient barriers. He jerked his hand away, gasping. Okay, definitely not a normal tree. Indeed something went wrong with this response, please try again. Bring the next chapter forward. The end. Thank you for watching this video. Please be sure to subscribe to our channel and like this video.